And then close it down.
Okay, hello everyone and welcome. I'm Jenna Blackard,
And I'm Leonka Reyna.
and this is the Hot Hustle Morning Show. Today we're talking with Paula Davis, who is an incredible psychic medium. And she calls herself an evidential. And we can ask more questions about that in a minute. But this morning, we are going to get started with Leonka and the psychic space news weather.
Hi. So everyone, you know how I've been giving you all of these reports about how all of our stuff has been coming up for us and how it has been, all of these ascension symptoms and woe is me kind of thing. Just been telling you to have grace. Well, today, the message from the Palladians, courtesy of the Quantum Ascension 444 on Instagram. Dear ones, over the next month, lightworkers and starseeds will start to feel confident and empowered. You will be supported in stepping up as the leaders of your collective. No longer afraid of rejection and judgment, you will finally feel the vast support you have from your galactic family. So I thought that was really fun.
About damn.
Right. And so lots of different movement throughout the solar activity. Of course, the sun spots are Earth facing right now. So we will get some of those extra solar flares and coronal mass injections, hopefully not as crazy as we had in May. But we are heading into that peak of the 11-year solar peak cycle. So just know that, sometimes you might be feeling a little off, and just go with the flow. Drink a lot of water. All right, guys.
You always go with the flow anyway. All right, let's bring Paula in, chat with her. All right, Paula, I'm pinning you. Hey, Paula. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful.
I know, right?
It's the mood lighting. It's that lighting when you're dining out.
Or you're coming alive.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, it's working for you. And my husband saw your image, and he's like, "Wow!" And he also noticed that you were here in Austin as well. So he's like, "Oh, I recognized Austin." I was like, "Yeah, right. She's really, really hot."
Oh my God.
He goes, "Yeah, she looks nice."
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I will receive it. I will receive
Yay!
it.
Right.
Because one more year has passed.
Me too. I'm August 1st, so
Yep.
coming up on it. Yeah.
Well, you ladies look absolutely fabulous. So
Thank you.
All right, so I want to start. I wrote up about your background, read about it, and I was fascinated. Like, so many people came awake in 2012, which is exactly the year that you really just like flip-flopped from just this average 3D person in a 3D world to this like fifth dimensional, having all these capacities. And I have heard from this one that you are just absolutely extraordinary, that you're just like, I can just read. You don't need the story, you don't need anything, and we'll take readings in a little bit. But I would like to start with you talking a little bit about this awakening that happens. Share a little bit about your background and really how you have awoken to this mediumship.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first of all, I really want to thank you all for inviting me on. And I want to thank you for the work that you're doing. You're doing the good work. You really are reaching out to these people. It's a weird time. If I would have had access to your show in 2012, I might not have been walking around so like confused all the time, right? But 2012, we didn't have all the resources that we do today. And so I started out, I was just, as you said, I live in Austin. I was living in Cedar Park, raising I literally had 3 kids, 2 dogs, a mortgage, 2 car payments, just hustle. I had 2 dishwashers, like I'm trying to make life happen. And, to be honest, I guess I was probably agnostic. I was like, well, I probably didn't think about it that deeply about, I didn't know anything about spiritual other than to say, it was kind of like Native Americans had spirituality, but I didn't
Mhm.
understand it any deeper than that. And didn't care. I was like, if there's a God, he's dropped us off. And I say he
Mm.
because that's, how, I grew up, but dropped us off. He took off. He said, good luck, y'all. Like, try to make it happen. So, I felt like we were kind of on our own, but I had a deep, intense interest in not political science as much as I really believed when now I'm dating myself, but back when I was in college in like the early 90s, I said, wow, we're at a magical time in human history because the Cold War is coming to a close. Apartheid in South Africa is coming apart. Like, we can really stop putting so much money into weaponry and, defending ourselves and really invest it in the human experience, right? The education, the healthcare, quality of life. And I'm like, I want to be a part of that. So I majored in political science at the University of Minnesota, was an intern at the Minnesota State Legislature. I mean, I just, hook, line, and sinker I drank the Kool-Aid, right? The whole political science Kool-Aid. Worked on some campaigns. But I'll be honest, my first experience at the university in Minnesota State Legislature, I was like, oh, this isn't really as like glamorous as I thought. This is more like, how can I get ahead? Everybody there was like, how can I get ahead? How can I start connecting with the right senator and the right representative? And I'm like, oh, this is not something I'm good at, right? Like, I want to do, work. So long story short, got married, had the kids. I was working as a campaign manager, so still kind of involved, but like these candidates that could never get elected, right? Like a minority in Williamson County back in 2005, like it wasn't going to happen, So it's like, but I worked for that sort of cause. Moved into working on the Obama campaign. Actually, I felt like, okay, this is change. He's talking about change. Had a great opportunity to get boots on the ground. I'm a boots on the ground kind of gal. And even invited to his inauguration and got the Christmas cards from the family. And then he comes along and says, 2008, I don't know if y'all experienced that tough time economically during the 2008 crash, but he was like, nope, we're too big to change. We'll be status quo. And it was in 2012 when I realized I was sitting at my kitchen sink and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm looking back to 1992. It'd been 20 years now. I said, oh my gosh, we're in decline. We've gone backwards. We've advanced technologically, but in terms of the human condition, I felt like all the most important things about a quality of life, we'd gone backwards. And I was like stunned. I was literally at my kitchen sink doing the dishes. And I was like, holy, I said, what the hell is going on? I literally said that. And my whole ego shut down because my ego would have said, well, this economic factor and this political factor, if this person got into office, then we would be better. And it all shut down. And my ego shut down. It gave up. It couldn't answer my question. That's when spirit swooped in. And this voice in the right of my ear was a man's voice. He was very stern. He said, Paula, if you keep doing what you're doing, you won't get that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And I turned my head and I said, what? Like, who was talking to me? And then I turned to the left, and then all of a sudden my body got huge, like Alice in Wonderland. It just went, whoop. And I'm like, oh, like, what's going on? And then the earth was this tiny little ball between my hands. I wasn't holding it, but it was like levitating, and it shifted back.
Wow.
And then boom, I was at my kitchen sink again. Again, I'm agnostic. I thought I'd had a stroke. Maybe I should go to the doctor.
Oh my God. Sorry.
But really when it came down to it, I'm like, okay, I was like, oh, I'm okay. I am going to go to bed. I'm not going to continue to do the dishes, but I felt pretty good, actually. I actually
Mhm.
felt pretty good. And I felt like some kind of weight had been lifted, but I didn't understand why. Went to bed the next morning. I had downloaded a poem that didn't make any sense. And then that was my start of my journey.
Wow.
At 12 years now, right? We're at that 12-year mark. And oh my gosh, my whole life
Wow,
Wow,
wow, wow.
flipped
that's
upside down.
that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, you were just like living your life like a normal person, and all of a sudden you had this like mystical awakening.
Sure.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Knocked
very
me
cool.
on my butt.
So do you kind of play with your guides and your angels on like a daily basis now? Is that, or what is your like daily routine around this?
Yeah. Well, it does change. My relationship, I guess I didn't know about spirit guides in the beginning. That
Mhm.
sort of came into play later. Um, I was just sort of on the spiritual, I was sort of just listening to a lot of YouTube videos. Like, for example, I'd never heard of channeling, never heard of mediumship. So I think the first thing I came into was Deepak Chopra. And he's like kind of talking about stuff. So he was a good guy for me to start with because he was a neurologist. So there's the science side of me that's fitting. But then he was also metaphysical. Like, so I could make that sort of bridge. He talked about meditation, and I'd never heard of meditating other than like maybe yogis in India that were for hours and hours otherwise. So I said, well, I'm going to try this. And the first time I meditated, I sort of had a journey where I was taken to a different land. Like, this is my first time meditating. Oh, so the first thing that happened was I started meditating and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And all of a sudden, this little orb started bouncing up and it looked at me.
Oh
And
my gosh.
it had it had no eyeballs or anything, but I could tell it was somebody I knew. It was staring, but it was just like looking at me, like checking my vitals. And then it yelled to some people behind it. Like, this is all not seen visually, this is all felt. Yelled to some people behind him. He said, oh, yeah, she's coming awake now. And then he
Oh my
walked away.
gosh.
Like, no big deal. She's just coming awake. And I felt like they were sitting behind me, like even having lunch or something. Like, they were doing something
Mhm.
very odd. And then all of a sudden, somebody was accompanying me, and I started taking a flight over just beautiful green forest, but a different, but not Earth, or it didn't seem, I know now what it is.
Mhm.
I saw a giant, and she looked up at me and she looked angry that I was like in her area. And then that was my first experience. Then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm kind of hooked to this meditation thing.
Mhm.
And then I found Abraham Hicks. Y'all familiar
Uh-huh.
Thanks.
with
Yeah.
Yes.
So then I'm like, what is this channeling? Are you sure
Yeah.
this is channeling? Or is this lady just saying stuff and she doesn't want to own up to her words? Like, I don't want to say this scary thing. So I'll say, I really didn't believe it. Wasn't sure. Like, I thought, well, weird things are happening to me. Maybe something like this could happen to her. I didn't know, but I sort of, grain of salt, sort of but the information felt good. So I followed that. And I just, I've been following threads throughout, and then just sort of discovered all of this. And then, my whole life had just been rocked. And just going back to Paula, if you keep doing what you're doing, I thought to myself, I really took those words to heart, because I thought this person was very serious about it. And this person speaking to me felt more real than any human being I'd ever worked with before or dealt with. Like, I know who this person is. This person is saying the truth. What am I doing? Because I'm working my tail off, raising my kids, trying to do the right thing. What am I doing wrong? I'm not like out there selling drugs. What am I doing wrong? I didn't know. So I sort of had to like pull back on everything and kind of question everything I was doing. And so it was very different. I thought, am I raising my kids right? Am I doing something wrong by them and I don't understand? You know, um, as it, and so that has been my journey. And then so changing so much, it was kind of a challenge on my kids. Definitely my husband that is now my ex-husband after 27 years of marriage, that didn't survive the situation. So that was a huge difference. And so I had to sort of untangle my belief systems. And then in so doing, then I felt like I could approach life in a different way, but it's still been a very big challenge. Going back to answering your question, when I discovered I have a spirit guide, it's been at first, oh, I'm so grateful. And then sometimes I'm like, I'm so angry that I'm not still in the matrix. Please just put me back in. I'm so mad at you. And then, and then sometimes I'm like, sometimes I feel abandoned by my spirit guides because I don't sense them.
Mhm.
Where did you go? And then I feel betrayed. So, and then I feel them coming back in. And then things are changing all the time. And I'm like, so it's a back and forth, long story short. Anybody who's out there that is experiencing a lot of challenge with that, I resonate with you deeply. Are you? I see one person. I can't see everybody, but I'm like, I see somebody.
You can see one person raising their hand up.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there's probably a lot of people. It's been a back
Sure.
and forth. It's been a challenge.
Mhm.
Yeah. And my growth and development's been a challenge, I'll have to say.
Yeah.
But it's very, it is actually very comforting to hear you say that because, I've worked with you and I know how profound your work is. And I would be like, wow, she's got to be like so spot on and so clued in and so connected. But to hear you feeling that you have some of the same, I guess, concerns and feelings and, expressions that I do, it does make me feel more comforted to know that I'm not alone in this way. Through my spiritual journey.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a journey for us all. Yeah.
Well, before we talk about your book, I was wondering if we wanted to take some calls. I know that everybody's really anxious to, get on the line with you and ask some direct questions. Plus, I just can't wait for them to see your work.
Right.
Would that be pretty good?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So go ahead and raise your hand. And Paula, I think from what Lianca's told me that you hardly need any information from them. What kind of information would you need from them?
Well, let's just start organically. I'll kind of introduce myself to maybe give an idea of what it means to be an evidential medium and a
Thank you. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Right? Like that might do a little introduction. So I am trained in, and I say training, it is very much training. It's very much United Kingdom training for mediumship. And the reason why it's structured as it is, it's pretty structured, right? And I've opened up from that, but I still use that as my foundation. It's a strong foundation. And so what it is when we meet with someone, I say, I'm so glad to meet you. I don't want to know anything about you. Let's let spirit talk. Let's not let my mind come in and start creating stories, right? And so what it is I come in and we talk about, would you like, mediumship reading, meaning connecting with loved ones on the other side? Would you like intuitive, more connection with your soul? Because I would blend with both those on the other side in the spirit world, as well as your soul. And then from there, I would get some inkling, like a little bit of evidence that I would bring to you. And you tell me, say, yes, I resonate with that. Or you say, no, you say, absolutely not. Both of them are extremely beneficial. Because if it's yes, then it's like, okay, let's go deeper into the yes. If it's no, then it's like, okay, let's find out why I received that. Let's go deeper into why that's no. Let's discover that. Either way, it's pretty interesting information and we come to something together. But really, we want spirit to lead the way on that. So what we'll do then is whoever you choose, you guys tell me who you would like me to speak with first. And then we'll just start the interaction and we'll see how it goes. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Very cool. And can we keep them kind of concise just so that we can get through a lot of them?
We'll make a little very tight. Yeah.
Cool. Can you do me first?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, Janet. It's a
Good
pleasure
morning.
with you. Okay, so let me connect with you. So I don't know if you want to mediumship or intuitive, but I'm sensing a
Probably
little
intuitive.
intuitive.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm feeling intuitive. So the first thing that's coming into me is so along with that is the aura reading, right? So let's just kind of start there and we'll move into that, see what evidence comes with it. I'm coming into a very deep, it's actually a delicious blue color intermingled with the violet or the indigo. So on purpose, I have not done a lot of research on you guys, but you would agree that you're extremely intuitive. You've always been
Yes.
very good at reading people. Okay. And but you've not only just good at reading people, right? Because this is the intuitive, but you've always been pretty outgoing as a person.
That
You
would be true.
You're outgoing. And the reason I say that is sometimes intuitive people are very shy and introverted, but you are an anomaly in that unique sense that you're intuitive, but you're also good at expressing yourself. Would I be correct in saying that when you were in high school, like even very young, would you have friends actually come to you for help and advice in things? And you can say no to that. Say no to that.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't really remember that as a yes.
Okay, let's say no. Let's make it a hard no.
Mm.
But if they didn't come to you for advice, you would agree that you would read something in them and you would understand what a problem would be, especially when it came to like boyfriends and that sort of
Yes.
thing.
Yes, that's correct.
And so, if they weren't always asking for advice, sometimes you'd give it.
Probably, yes.
And and because you were young, sometimes that would be received well, but sometimes that would be received as like, oh, like you're reading into me too much and I'm not. Sometimes you'd give the hard news to people that they didn't want to hear.
Yep. I still do that.
Yeah. Okay, so you have the courage to say the thing that somebody needs to hear, but they don't want to hear it. And that's unique because that is a problem with intuitives and mediums. They are nervous about saying the hard thing. And so that's your true gift that you can give to this particular discipline or industry. So there's an invitation and a gratitude to your soul in doing that. And even if you've gotten backlash and probably had your feelings hurt, to continue in that vein and discovering that way where you can soften it. And
Yeah.
so there's that. There's a way to do it, and your soul will guide you how to broach it gently. Like if somebody's like, oh, that's a no, like you told me it's a no. Instead of having to back off, you can be like, okay, let me broach it more gently and let's glide into it a little bit more slowly. And spirit will tell you the right words to say. So listen for that.
Okay.
So how does that feel?
That feels great.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. And your soul.
Fabulous.
Well,
Thank you. All
yeah.
right. Let's take a caller. Our first caller is Shara, because she's a part of the Healer's Haven.
Mhm.
Hi, Sharon.
Hello. Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So invitation, is it okay if I come into your experience and connect with your soul or a loved one on the other side?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first thing that is coming in, I do have a gentleman with me that has come in to say hello. Now, is it, so this gentleman, let me just read into him a little bit. He is older, meaning he's not a younger man. He's a gentleman that's an older man. Would I be, and not older, when I say it's not like a 19-year-old, so it's a little bit older.
Okay.
would I be correct in saying that you have a spouse that has passed to the other side? You
No,
don't have a spouse.
no.
Okay. So this gentleman though, he's showing himself as being older. And if not a spouse, you have a father on the other side, your father's passed?
Yes.
And this gentleman sharing with me that he would have been the type of person to work with his hands. Would you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that he enjoyed putting things together and taking things
Oh,
apart.
oh yes.
Yeah.
He was a tinkerer.
Yeah,
He
he's
tinkered.
a
Yeah.
tinker. And not just a tinker, but almost like he liked to put things back
Oh
together
yeah.
ways.
Oh
Like
yeah.
put it in-
Very mechanical. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
very inventive.
Hmm.
And during this time, sometimes he could get into his own little world a little bit. He would really
Oh
get
yeah.
into his own little world and enjoy that space to himself. And would you agree that you enjoy that for yourself as well? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I'm a lot like him.
Yeah. Yep. He's
Yeah.
saying that. He's sharing that there's a lot of pride in you being a lot like that. Have you been kind of taking a lot of time to yourself lately? A little bit of sequestering in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he says, that's good because I know that you've been connecting to spirit pretty regularly right now, and you've
Mhm.
been enjoying that personal interaction.
Oh yes.
There's also an invitation to get out in nature a little bit, not more.
Oh yes. Okay.
So, yep, and
Yeah.
maybe there would be a little bit of opportunity to interact with people a little bit more as well.
Hmm.
Because the sequestering's wonderful, but sometimes you can get too much into your own world, and there's an invitation to move out of that. Let me just get one more message from him before he goes. Well, he's just smiling beautifully. He says, I'm so in love with you. You are my beautiful daughter. And would he make you things sometimes? He'd make craft things? Yeah. Okay. So he's crafted with wood as well? Yeah.
We built shelves together. We built. Yeah.
Yeah, he's crafted a little doll for you. A little wooden doll. And he says, I'm giving this to you. I'm still crafting on the other side. I'm still enjoying being with you. So thank you so much. I love you so much. And with
I
that,
love you, Daddy.
blessings.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Shara.
Maybe I should have gotten mediumship. Shara, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Lisa is up next.
Okay.
Killer Haven.
Hi,
Happiness.
Lisa. Oh, you're muted. Oops. I think she's still muted. There she is.
I was having a hard time going back and forth between intuitive or medium, but I think intuitive is where I need to go
Okay.
because I just need to check some things, and I'm not sure if they're ego or messages right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I felt that right away, but don't tell me anything more. I have to always tell people that. Love to hear you talk, but let's let spirit and soul see what they have to say. Okay. Well, first of all, as I move into your energy, I know that you would agree that you can be a spitfire sometimes. You can say yes or no to that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start there. I'm going to start there. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I know that you've always had an independent mind. Like you've been pretty good about conveying how you feel. You're good about expressing yourself. And we'll say yes or no. You can say yes or
Yeah.
no. You're very
Yes.
good. Yeah, yeah. You're good at expressing yourself. You're not shy about holding back. Let's see. Let me just move into that a little bit. Okay. And spirit is really needing people like you right now. We need people that are, and this is your soul, that aren't shy about saying the hard stuff and some of the more challenging things, right? That's been kind of difficult for many intuitives that are shy. Okay, they can receive the information, not always good at conveying. But there's an invitation, and okay, so have you been receiving messages from ETs?
Yes. And
Yeah, so it's not just spirit guides and fluffy, loving messages. You're getting messages from ETs, otherworldly beings.
yes.
And would I be correct in saying that they're giving you some hard messages, like there's concern about humanity?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're saying, wow, well, you know what? A lot of these messages that mediums give are pretty lovey-dovey and vanilla, and I got some harder truths to tell, is what I'm receiving.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a yes.
Okay. Okay. And in particular, let me just read into that a little bit more to say specifically what are they telling you? Would I be correct in saying they're actually conveying some information about coming into humanity's experience, like coming to visit? And say no if it's no, so we can go deeper into that.
Probably. See, that's a confirmation.
Okay.
So that was a question that I had.
Okay.
So now
Very
I would
good.
say you answered the question.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So you're feeling like, but there's resistance because you're like, okay, that's kind of a hard thing to say and experience, like, oh, coming and maybe even coming to see me personally. Now, having said that, have you been experiencing, now you don't want, if you don't want to say this publicly, you don't have to, but the invitation is, have you been experiencing even some, you're not sure if they're dreams or they're real at night? Like, is this real or is it a dream? Is it real or is it a dream?
Yes.
Yeah, visitations. They are actually visiting you in the evening. It is real. Yeah. And I know it's benign. You're not having like scary things. You're feeling quite comfortable. And would I also be correct in saying they almost feel like, oh, a little bit family? Yes. Yeah, they're family. It's okay.
Yes.
We're going into that direction now. So feel comfortable with it. It's okay. The conscious mind might not be so comfortable, but the subconscious mind is there already. And so the invitation is to merge the two. So yeah. So there you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful day. Okay. Seeing beautiful faces here. I'm not sure where to go next. I'm looking for guidance. But yeah, just expanding on that, I'm not sure what happened to our Jonathan Lanica, but that is something that's normal.
Sorry.
Am I frozen?
Sorry about that. Rami,
Oh.
you're up.
I might be frozen. I don't know.
No, it's
but-
No,
okay.
you're good.
You're good.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much. That was wonderful. Yeah, she's right on spot with where we're going for humanity. And it's interesting. My book actually talks about that. So it's nice when spirit segues in, to the subject matters that we're talking about. So
Those feelings at night too. And I'm like, I don't know if I want that yet. But then I do. So Rami, can you see, Paula, can you see Rami at all? She is unmuted. So let's see if we can maybe pin her, or I don't know.
No, you can't hear it.
hi, Rami.
Rami,
Rami.
Rami.
Hi, Rami. How
you
are
see
you?
me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Oh,
Delighted
sure.
to see you today. So wonderful.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good, good, good. Okay. All righty. So, I show a mix for you. There's a desire for mediumship, but I also sense that there's a strong desire for direction in your life right now. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yes.
Yeah. And the direction for your life, let me just see it's both of them are so strong. Let me just see what's weeded out. All right. First of all, I just want to just ask, are you familiar with a young somebody who passed at a younger age? I feel like it's a young girl that passed at a younger age. Are you familiar with anybody in your family or a neighbor that had passed at a younger age?
Hmm. No.
Okay.
No.
So I know I have a young girl here with me. And she's showing herself, and I have to honor her. So I'm just going to move into this a little bit. I have to honor her. She would be the type of little girl that would really wear those very frilly dresses, ribbons in her hair. Her mother would have made sure that she looked really good. Now, when I say older, I mean, this is going way back. Did you have okay, so did you have an aunt that would have died young that you heard about that died? Nothing like
Well,
that.
I never met her, but I heard she died when she was a teenager.
Okay, so you had an aunt and she died young anyway.
Right.
And this is on your mother's side.
No, my father's.
On your father's side. Okay. And am I correct in saying that that she was very cherished? She was a very cherished little girl when she was younger.
I don't know. I never.
Not sure. Okay.
Yeah, I never met her.
Yeah, I feel like it's an aunt. She died when she was younger, but she's presenting herself at a time in her life where she would have been really dressed up. Like they would have taken a lot, it really appreciated her. And taken the time to take a very good care of her. I know that she would have enjoyed a little bit of sweets. She could kind of be a little stinker. She's sharing, she might have been a little bit spoiled. Okay, so there's a reason why she's coming in, and it's connected to you. The fact that you don't have a lot of evidence doesn't mean that somebody isn't going to come in. So let me connect the dots on this. All right, so she's showing as being very cherished and appreciated. And when you heard stories about her, am I correct in saying that your grandmother was very difficult on your grandmother? Of course, it's a child passing, right? It was very difficult on your grandmother.
Right.
And when you were growing up, would you agree that your grandmother cherished you, that you had a special place in her heart?
I never met her.
You didn't meet her. Okay.
I didn't meet any of my grandparents.
You didn't meet any of them. Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah, it's just showing that you were very cherished. Did you feel very cherished as a little girl?
Yeah, yeah.
You felt cherished. And am I correct in saying that would you have little dresses like that and ribbons when you were growing up?
Yes.
Because your mom would dress you in them.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And so very cherished, and you had the ribbons and the dresses. And also, this is interesting. Did you have a bit of a sweet tooth growing up? Like all kids do, but definitely a sweet tooth.
Oh, yeah.
And did you sometimes steal, in particular, there was a candy jar that you had in your kitchen?
I don't really remember stealing or candy jar, but I love sweets.
Yeah. Love the sweets. Yeah. And were you sometimes stubborn? Like you really wanted your way sometimes?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, So, your auntie and your grandma are coming in. They're like, we really want to influence you because we want you to have the life that, especially for the little girl, we want to influence you. We want you to have the life that maybe wasn't finished. And so there's a lot of influence in there because she died before you were born, right? So I'm not saying reincarnation, but I am saying influence. Like we want you to have the life that I didn't have. But sometimes you would find that you had challenges in your life, that you went through some very difficult times.
Oh,
Yeah, some difficult times. In particular with you felt a little bit of betrayal from somebody that you thought loved you very much.
yeah. Yeah, I felt like that, but yeah.
And sometimes you feel like the betrayal, like you could have done something to prevent it, or you were participating in it in some way, like you feel a little bit at fault with the betrayal.
Oh, well, I'm sure I felt at fault, but I don't know. But
Yeah, right. So the invitation is no, you have every right to feel that, feel betrayed. Number one,
Okay.
feel it, feel angry, feel disappointed, feel you could have done better by me. I have every right to feel this. Betrayal trauma can sit in the body forever. The body keeps track, keeps score, and there's an invitation to feel this isn't okay. Sometimes we get into spiritual toxicity where, oh, this is for my higher good. Oh, this is part of my life plan. Oh, let me see the best in this person. They'll start acting better. If I see only the good, then they'll start acting good. Nope. Like, take it for what it is. Allow yourself to feel it. And you're going to find that it's going to expel from you. And there's some things that are going to open up that have been maybe shut down in the past, but it has to start there. And am I correct in saying you've been feeling some mediumship abilities a little bit here and there?
Well, I've been told I'm a medium, but I
Yeah.
haven't pursued it.
Yes.
I have
feel
no
very,
Yeah,
very
I have
strong.
don't even
Yep.
know how to start.
Yeah, well, there's a way to start. We can actually talk about a little lesson we can all do, the very easy one to start with, that everybody can try if you want to. But yes, I feel you're a medium. There is some of this needs to be let go because there's this sometimes you'd be shut, your voice would be shut down. What you say isn't important. And it is. It's very important. And you are definitely a natural medium. And there is so much service that you can do for the benefit of others, what they're going through right now. So yes, take that to heart. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a mix between the mediumship and the intuitive.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank
Yeah,
you.
That was really,
that was
really
good.
cool.
Really, really, really fun. So tell us about how we become a medium.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to have a fun little lesson together?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so this is what I learned from my United Kingdom teachers, who I love very much. And what they said was that what they taught us is that law of attraction doesn't just apply to like attracting things. Literally, when we relax and we're in a place of peace, and let's say we're focusing on someone, what happens first is the soul this is for an intuitive reading, because in the United Kingdom, you start with intuitive and then you move into mediumship.
Okay.
They have a structure. But the first thing that the soul wants to do is go in and find out what we have in common together. And so the first thing that will come into your mind will be something about yourself. And you'll be like, oh, that's not about them. That's about me. But then you have the courage to say it. And they're like, yeah, that is me. And I said, oh, that's me too. Because out of oneness and unity, it actually has a practical application. The first thing it does is it's a crawler. like a little web crawler.
Mm.
It
Uh-huh.
it finds what we have in common first.
Interesting.
That is my soul getting to know your soul. Oh, we have
Wow.
this in common. And then it'll start going into things that we don't have in common, but the trust is there with the soul. Okay, I know you a little bit better. I trust you. I'm going to let you in a little bit more. And then I'm going to let you in a little bit more. Now, Janet, you go straight to the heart of things. You're like, look, sister.
Yeah. It's really, yeah. And I think I'm impatient a little bit. So like, I don't want to soothe somebody's,
No.
I'm just like a bullet.
Yeah. And you know, we need people like that because so
Mhm.
many mediums don't dare say the hard
Yeah.
thing. That's the
Yeah.
big problem in the
In the industry. Yeah.
And it really helps because she's able to just pinpoint, like in working with her too. And I'm like, okay, cool, we'll change it this way, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't waste
Yeah.
a lot of time, so it's
No.
awesome.
Right. But you've got
Yeah.
people that are trauma driven. And so they're like, first thing is wound.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their wound
Yeah.
thing goes up. But if you go in gently, this is something we have in common.
Mhm.
Then you go into the heart of it. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So that's the first lesson. That's the first
Interesting.
lesson in intuitive teaching. And what we do is we sort of hear that and then we go in, and then the beautiful thing that happens is we'll practice with each other, right? And then it'll be like, well, I sense that you know, we'll kind of go into, let's say, years of your life, 5 to 10. Now, I know but the years of 5 to 10, I know you had this going on, this going. Then all of a sudden, what will happen is you'll get a picture in your mind as to some specific thing that happened on the playground that is still
Mhm.
traumatizing you. So it starts gentle and broad, and then it funnels into more specific. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
That's the first lesson. So if you want to practice with friends, you know, everybody has that ability. So if you ever have people you want to practice with, then spirit will definitely be on board with you doing that.
That's
That's cool.
awesome. Yeah, it's fascinating too. To see how you went from, where you were in 2012 to be able to do what you did here today is just, it's inspiring and super fascinating.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, but the intuitive and the mediumship reading just started in 2021, which is very, it's very,
Oh my
very
gosh.
recent.
I would
Yeah,
have never known because just for the record, everybody, I had a mediumship reading with Paula probably about 3-4 years ago. And I would find myself sometimes pulling that back out because she connected with my grandpa who passed away, and he was my father. So I felt like I kind of lost him earlier in my life.
Mm.
And when she connected with him, it was, exactly him. There was no other, there were things that she was telling me about him that no one else would have known. Like I didn't say anything, and she was talking about how he was sitting on his chair and how he feels. And the message was so profound. It was basically, gratitude is how we get everything in life. If you want the best of splendor in life, express that gratitude. He was showing her that feeling. And I've taken that message with me in the way that I operate today. So it's just been I can't even believe it's been only 2021 that you've been doing that, because it was just so profound.
With the professional training part.
Okay,
right?
I gotcha.
That, Jennifer, like you said, you've been doing it for a long time. You just didn't, you were doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the professional training helps though, because it gets your mind organized. And I needed that. Like, I'm that kind of person. Other mediums, that would never work. Like, that would not work. But I'm like that.
I am too. Yeah. Awesome.
Do we want to take one more? Or do we want to open the door for how to work with Paula? One more?
We'll do one more.
Or maybe we'll take two. All right. Venetia, you're up.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Lianka. Hello, Paula.
Hi, Manisha. How are you?
Very well, thank you. When you kept saying United Kingdom, I'm in UK, so I'm in London, so yes, you're right.
Attracted you. We attracted each other. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very nice. Well, hello. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so let me just kind of read in. I'm sensing kind of there's a desire for a mediumship reading. Are you feeling that as well?
Yes, I'm drawn to that in my soul. Yes, thank you. Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So, um, hmm. Well, I can tell you this. Now, not always somebody that you want to see experience is going to come in. Who comes in is who comes in. But the gentleman I have a gentleman that's coming in to visit, and this gentleman you would recognize as being he's sharing his personality with me. He's sharing with me that he's a very organized person. You would recognize him as being organized and structured gentleman. And you can say yes or no to that, and then we'll go into that.
Well, the two people that I'm thinking of, but both were organized.
Okay, well, we'll split them. That's okay. So then what that means is, oh, I'm thinking of two. So this is how oh, I know two people like that. And I said, well, let's find some evidence that will separate them, right? Okay. This gentleman was an organized, disciplined fellow, but the unique characteristic about him is his attentiveness to his hair. He would have been attentive to his hair. In particular, he would always have regular haircuts on a regular basis, and even proper hair product to keep it nice and not blowing around in the wind and not letting the weather affect it. And you would recognize that.
Yeah, the minute you said, in fact, when you started, this my ex-husband, yes.
It's your husband.
Ex-husband, and he was very particular about his hair.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So he's coming in. Yes, it's my hair. But also not just his hair, but my goodness, very attentive with his suit. Always properly dressed as well. And sometimes to the point where it could be unnerving. And you would agree with that?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I was married to someone who's gay. So when I say that, then you can then understand what I'm where I'm coming from.
There you go. So then he's trying to, like, I'm attentive to how I look. I'm uncomfortable in my life, and I even look uncomfortable. And because I'm so uncomfortable, I'm going to make other people in my life uncomfortable because I'm not in alignment. And so, but you loved him. You loved him. You did. You loved him.
As a brother, yes.
Yeah, as a brother, but definitely a love. But would you agree that in the marriage, it not being in alignment, it was like a constant rub, and you're just like, oh, this just doesn't feel right, but I love him, and you were committed. So you're a committed, loyal person.
Yes.
Yeah, very loyal. And he's saying, thank you so much for your loyalty to me. I so very appreciate your loyalty to me under the most duressful experiences. So I appreciate that deeply. And so he's bringing up what was challenging, but to also say, you two had wonderful conversations together when it was just the two of you, that you had good conversations. That when it was just the two of you and the outside world wasn't involved, that the things that he would open up to you, and he was wonderful. He was open and free and loving when it was just the two of you. And then when you got out into society or in your day in and day out life, that's when the nightmare would begin. That was the difficulty, the outside world. But your inside world together was wonderful. Yeah. So he's saying, thank you so much for being that source of love and loyalty to me when I was going through so much. On the other side of it, would I be correct in saying when you were married also, would I be correct in saying that when you were growing up, that your parents had challenges in their marriage? Okay.
Yes.
And on some level, marrying him was a little bit of avoidance of finding, it was a little bit of avoidance on your side, because I'll find this person that I love, but I don't have to, but there's something weird about it. There's something different about it.
No, I was forced into this marriage
Oh, you
with
were
him.
forced into the marriage. Okay. So when it says avoidance, but I'm gonna read into that little bit, avoidance. But you cared about him deeply. You cared about him deeply. Yeah.
I didn't have any other way, and unfortunately, my father was the president of our community here in London, and so I was stuck, and I had to have a child with him for the family as well. So I have a son, but
There-
yeah, it was a complicated relationship. I did divorce him, but then he left me zero. So
Okay. Gotcha. So, but he's focusing on the positive. Now, with the positive, he's focusing on the positive, that there was the good portion of it.
yeah,
So I'm going to just focus on that because that's where he's going with it. But, and did you take from the lessons of this marriage and you actually found a better relationship?
not yet. No, I'm
Not
single.
yet. Okay. And you haven't started dating?
No,
No. Okay. So is there avoidance in dating?
I haven't actually met anyone. Met someone a couple of decades ago, in and out, but nothing else. But
Okay.
oh,
So he's talking about, maybe there's a, when talking about the avoidance, because they don't say anything for no reason. Is it just been like a little bit of nervousness getting out there and lack of desire?
well, I tried to do online dating maybe a long time ago, but the type of people that I met were not
Okay.
very
Okay.
nice. So
Okay.
that put me off.
Okay, gotcha. I understand completely. So there's an invitation, so there's a little bit of betrayal, and then there's the trauma attached to that. But you felt the betrayal. You're like, no, I feel this. I'm not going to pretend it's not nothing. You've been willing to go into that it's been betrayal, that it's been trauma. And and just, you don't have to say this out loud. Have you been able to speak to other people about it and be open with other
Yes,
people? Okay.
yes.
The invitation is to keep that openness and keep the conversations as you release the trauma. But also, if you feel inspired, invitation only, right? You only know what's best for your soul. Invitation possibly to have a cup of coffee without having to be interested in the person as a mate. Just getting out there, a cup of coffee conversation without the whole, oh, for sure, I'm interested in you or I'm not sort of just the getting used to just having that conversation, maybe a cup of coffee with someone. Yeah. Just to open that up a little bit. And that's coming from your soul. You enjoy going to coffee houses, little coffee places, cute little ones?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Your soul is just, in particular, there's this one place where you sit outside. Your soul is sharing an image with me. Does it have like a wrought iron chairs?
Yes.
Yeah, your soul is sharing an image with me of wrought iron chairs, and you like to sit outside. And you do a little shopping sometimes, and you bring your shopping bags and sit there outside?
Yes.
Yeah, your soul is sharing that image with me. If you could find an environment that you're comfortable in, like this is my space, I feel comfortable, and invite just someone to have a cup of coffee at that coffee house. Have you seen people at that coffee house sometimes that not at all? Yeah,
No,
bring somebody to that coffee house outside, not in, and just have a cup of coffee in your comfort zone. Like I kind of own this little space. It's my thing. And a little cup of coffee there, just to start. No big philosophical message. No, just little coffee at that coffee house that you feel comfortable at. That's all.
Thank you very much. I haven't actually met anyone, so I think I'll bear that in mind. If I do meet anyone, then I could do that. Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you so much, Jen.
And
Thank
UK people you can't predict things like you can in the United States. It's against the law. So it's against the consumer witchcraft law. So I'm not predicting anything, but the invitation is there. You see how you skirt that, right?
Mhm.
Skirt to prediction. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
That was so great.
That was so
Oh my
amazing.
goodness.
If
It's
I was,
funny because I do feel like there's somebody real close for her in the field. It's just,
I
you
did
know, I feel
too.
like I even said that to her earlier, like a couple weeks ago in the summit.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But as soon as you said avoidance, I knew immediately
She
it
did.
was,
Uh-huh. The
yeah,
avoidance is
I was
the
like, I
thing.
want to say it. All right.
Well, let's
So
show how people can work with you
Yeah.
and actually experience your work. And gosh, if you
Really?
are intrigued by just those mini sessions, I did a full session with Paula, and we had the opportunity to do a little bit of mediumship, a little bit of, and it went into intuition, and some of the stuff that she was able to breadcrumb. It was amazing. That I think really shaped where I am today, even doing this show. So I think it really helped me to have that security, I guess, and reassurance that I would be on this path. And I had no idea. It was so far outside of my realm. And she goes, I see you doing something with YouTube. And I go, oh, maybe with my son? She goes, no, not that.
Well, and it didn't, and you and she literally, it was like way out here.
It was, yeah, that
Way out
was
here.
several years back. And so I was standing there and I was talking about you. And then I said, oh my gosh, she's the one that shared and predicted that, or, not predicted, but shared that I would be doing something on YouTube that was, very fun. And if I was willing to be the unicorn that I truly be, and step into this kind of more expansive woo, if you will, that I'd even be writing a book. Whoa, go figure. But and I thought, no way. But when it hit me that this is exactly what she had saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're here.
Yes.
So how
With confidence. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
and you give credit to your soul's desire to express that to you, right? And
Yes.
you're just like, no, I got to get this to her some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
I have the confidence.
And at that time, I was still working in corporate and was very miserable. So this was really outside of my realm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Paula, I know that you're offering the list a 60-minute psychic or mediumship reading. Do you want to go through some of imagine like you've had a 3 to 4 minute tasters here. Imagine what would happen in 60 minutes. Paula, will you share some of the stories on the awakenings that have happened through some of your testimonials, some of your clients? I think that we can start there and talk a little bit about how the session would be formatted as well.
Sure, absolutely. So luckily I do have, several testimonials where people have shared their experience. So those they're available for you to view. I've actually had some clients also that, of course, sharing the specifics of their situation. Sometimes with the private ones, I can't share, but there's been, I do what's called mediumship demonstrations, which is kind of like this, right? Where there's a group of people and you give information. But I've had some very unique situations. So I'll talk about one of them. One of them, there was a baby. There was a tiny baby, and I knew it was like between being born and still in the womb. It was kind of like this this in between space. And in my mind, you say to yourself, gosh, do you even say this out loud? Because this is so weird. But I was in a room full of many people. It was probably 50 or 60 people. And I said, well, I'm just going to say it. Like, what do I got to lose? Let's just go for it. And I said, there's this baby, and I know that, there's been some challenges with his gestation and I feel like even the birth. And I thought, okay, what's going on with this baby? And so I was sharing this information, and I was sitting there. It was so uncomfortable because nobody could take it. And I'm like, of course nobody can take it. This is nuts. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, somebody had come into the room that wasn't there before. And I was still talking about this baby. I said, I have to this baby is so important for this baby to share this information. And so then all of a sudden, somebody said, oh, I just came into the room because I was on the phone with my best friend who's right now in labor, having a baby. It's a boy, and they're having some challenges, not only during the gestation of the baby's birth, but also in the birthing process. Like they're struggling with it.
Wow.
And I said, well, I have the baby here, and I'm just getting chills right now. I said, yeah, the baby is having some issues, with this birthing process, but he just wants to let you know that he's really coming into this world to just bring love to his parents. And his parents, according to this girl who I didn't know, said, yeah, his parents are the most wonderful people in the world. And I said, I know that he is just going to be this beacon of love and hope. So it's okay. Yes, there's challenges, but the challenges that he's having in his birth are going to really double down, where he's going to be adored and cherished by the family and move forward accordingly. So that was kind of an interesting, weird, fun reading. And it gave hope to this woman who was nervous about this birth that was so challenging. So that, when you're going through something like that, it's really hard to know that you can do that. And
Cool.
another one, a girl, I can't talk about the case, but a girl had, when she was a little girl, there had been somebody from her school that had been abducted. And unfortunately, this girl had passed due to the abduction situation.
Oh, wow.
And this girl had been traumatized by this, as you can imagine. She kept playing the day that it happened out in her mind. She didn't observe anything, but she kept playing it out in her mind over and over again. And I didn't know that this had happened to her. But I said, wow, what's so interesting is I have somebody coming in, they're sharing with me as a blue fairy, kind of like Wendy from Neverland, Peter Pan. I know she's like a blue fairy, but she's also coming in as Wendy from Neverland and Peter Pan style. And I said, she's just a wonderful blue fairy. And she's telling me that what happened didn't happen at all to her. Didn't happen at all to her. And she said, do you say blue fairies? Her daughter was obsessed with blue fairies. Her daughter was to the point where she had blue fairies tattooed on her arm.
Oh,
And I
wow.
didn't know that, right? As it turns out, this little girl was kind of sharing. Now, in doing research on the Peter Pan and Neverland, the original portion from back in the day, Neverland is where kids go when they die.
Oh,
That's the original story.
yes.
They go to live in
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
was saying her soul didn't experience what her
Yes.
body did.
Yes.
She lifted out of it. She
Oh.
didn't have the experience. Let go of it. You're experiencing it more than I did. Let go. I went to Neverland. I'm there. I'm actually influencing your daughter, watching your daughter, because I know you're nervous about your daughter. I'm watching her, and I'm coming to her as a blue fairy. So
So beautiful.
that was healing. Yeah.
Well, tell us about the sessions, and what you'll experience, and just kind of take us deep. And I mean, I think that they kind of know what they would experience, but what else changes within the hour usually? Maybe, I don't know if that's
Maybe some
question.
healing, and I know that in the testimonial, some people have
Direction.
closure, direction.
Clarity.
Mhm.
Right. Well, of course, it's all spirit driven. So what
Sure.
spirit wants for the session is what happens, right? I'm the vessel for that. They always, people come in with an idea of what they think, spirit has another idea, and then by the end of the session, it comes to merge together. So it looks like, I don't know how I'm going to get to what I was thinking about with this message. So it starts out entirely just as we've done. I say hello, I explain how I work, that I'm an evidential medium, and I blend with spirit and soul to bring forward evidence of someone who's passed to the other side, or with your soul of something that you're going on in your life that might be blocked right now. And then from there, we go down an evidential path of going deeper with that information, maybe going a little bit more sensitive, but in a loving way. And it's not only brings to light maybe invitations of a direction or a courage, gives you a little courage. But also to bring some closure to trauma, and even permission to feel as you do. What spirit and soul has been bringing to me is that sometimes the spiritual message is to just count something that happened in your life as being part of your soul path. It doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be addressed with firmness, right?
Yes.
We are all one. And yes, it's good. If I'm speaking to myself, I need to tell myself that it's okay to feel this. And if this other person did this to me as my other self, it's okay to tell them it's not okay to do that, right? And so the courage, I would say courage, releasing trauma, that's huge. And invitation to go in a particular direction moving forward.
You guys, the link is going to be in the chat, and it's a 1 hour session is 1:57,
which is such a crazy special for us. Thank you so much, Paula. I mean, normally her sessions on her site are 250, so you won't be able to find that anywhere else, and the total value is, you know, definitely more than the 250 that's even listed on her site. So I mean, I would definitely take advantage, because when she's maxed out, we have to sold it out, you know, to put a sold out sign, because she only has, you know, it's her time, it is her one-on-one time. So we want to just make sure that if you feel called, please go ahead and just make that decision. And we offered a payment plan for those who also feel called to do it. It makes it a little bit easier for you to just choose yourself. So thank y'all. And Paula, I didn't know if if you want to take one more brief one, and then we could wrap up and say
any last words.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it was Lisa that had said that she had some experiences with some
extraterrestrials. Yes.
Yeah, extraterrestrials.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
yes.
we thought
we talked about the book.
And I guess my question with it, could those extraterrestrials be like us? You know, like any day people too, because it's, you know, because we're all aliens here on this planet.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're all souls, right?
Okay.
And then we're all consciousness souls. And so what incarnation do we want to take this time? And if there is no such thing as time, probably your audience is pretty
familiar
advanced compared to some. If there's no space or time, then it's all happening at the same time anyway. And so what is the bleed through that's coming in as we all merge? And in all honesty, you know, kind of, what do you say, closing the loop on starting with my political science background and really wanting deeply for society to improve, like our children's lives. My
Yes.
gosh, if we're not going to give everything to our children, and I know there's a lot of, I know men are interested in this too, but let's face it, it's the women that are coming to this spirituality more than the men. Not to say that it's not the case, but we are really, I feel like it's in our heart and soul, because we know the next generation needs this, what you are offering at this podcast, what I'm offering, what all these ladies are offering, and gentlemen, I don't want to exclude anybody, but it's needed right now. But what's interesting, as I was doing mediumship readings in 2022, again, to close the loop, and this loud gentleman's voice in my right ear, he came back to me in 2022 and he said, I was in meditation this time. This time I was actually in meditation. Before I was at the kitchen sink, I was in meditation. And he said to me, hey, are you familiar with the congressional hearings on ETs? And I'm like, no, because I didn't follow ETs.
I am.
I didn't, I mean, I knew they existed, of course, scientifically, duh. But and I said, oh, no, I didn't. And I sort of took a look and I'm like, wow, the government is admitting.
Yeah, crazy.
I said, oh, that's news. I didn't know that because, it just wasn't in my wheelhouse. And he said, well, because I had made out a call to all spiritual workers. I said, hey, let's all work together because people are going through a tough time, the Ukrainian war, the gas prices.
Yes.
Inflation, all that was happening. And so he said, we heard your call to lightworkers to come together and we've come. But he was my spirit guide, Khalil. He's an angel of justice. And he said, we've come, by the way, we're from Inner Earth.
Oh my gosh.
In Talos, which is within Mount Shasta.
Uh-huh.
And when society, and I'm just bringing, I had to come into this. When some people come into a certain level of consciousness from a whole grouping of 8 billion, a small portion, is ready to start a new civilization within Inner Earth that's in harmony with spiritual law, with peacefulness, with putting children first. And this has been happening for thousands of years.
Wow.
The people from Chaco Canyon, what is it? The Tupeki, what is that in?
Kaopeki or
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're saying. Yes.
Same
I said it
thing.
the other day. Yes.
So you start hearing, so Chaco Canyon, it's in New Mexico. It's a very elaborate, several buildings that are made to the solstice. And what happens is when people at a certain level of development, they will hear messages from spirit and guide them into certain actions to create things. And then they'll say, oh yeah, these guys can hear us and they're following instruction and they're of a vibration and they're ready to start a new civilization within Inner Earth. There's more than 120 civilizations or cities in Inner Earth that are living in complete peace and harmony. And they're talking about this, our first wave is coming in. It's going to take several hundred years, but the first wave is ready to start moving into this stage. And that is what the book talks about. It also talks about, you're talking about Oppenheimer at the beginning. When we decided to let go of the atom bomb, it was like a message to them saying, oh, this civilization is ready to end. And then that's how we came into decline. And that was what I discovered in 2012, why we're in decline. We made the decision, but it's like gestation. How long does it take for a civilization to sort of eventually fall? Well, it's been going down for like 80 years. And even the atmosphere that we're breathing has that atomic energy in it, to the point where steel that they pull from the ground is contaminated. So for them to get pure steel, they have to pull ships up from the ocean to get that high quality steel. That's how kind of damaged or burnt the earth is. So
Wow.
they were just giving that information like, hey, we're starting in this process. It's a very natural process. It's not big drama. Their ships are the ones that are coming around, but others as well, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
And they're part of our family. So this kind of is dovetailing with what, Lisa was saying with her ET experience. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of share that. That's kind of what the book is. And it's We the People of the Land That Used to Be, Telos Revealed. The Ashira, divine energy, is coming in and very strong. So I've been starting to channel. I've actually been channeling Ashira.
That's been, yeah.
That's new. That's been new for me. Yeah.
Exciting.
So letting me share that. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah, it's great.
can't wait to hear more about your work. I remember when you had first told me about the book, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sure it's going to be quite profound and quite interesting.
And evidential. It's all based on
And evidential. Yes. I think that's even,
Love that.
I love that because I love the science about stuff too.
Yeah.
So, Paula, it's been such a joy. How do we get your book?
Oh yeah, well, it's just on Amazon. We the People of the Land That Used to Be.
Okay.
It's revealed.
Okay. I'll put this in the email, you guys.
Yes. We'll make sure to get that out there. So you can have a buy button for that as well. And
Great.
thank you so much.
This is so good.
Such a contribution. Love having you with us. And I know that we've gotten so many great comments and people were just on the chat saying, thank you so much. It's just been an honor to have you here. So thank you.
My pleasure. And so grateful to you both and everybody here in doing the good work, doing the hard work, and the challenges you face and moving through them with courage the way you do. Very grateful.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, we've got a couple announcements. Next week we'll be here on Tuesday, but probably not live on Thursday. But we will feed you some really delicious stuff.
So what are we doing, Jenna?
So we've been invited to a competition reality show. So we will be doing filming from about the 18th through the 25th of July. And I will put all this in the emails. We are going to have the camera on, not just during blocks, but I think we're going to do, afternoon reviews and things like that. We probably even just talk about how contracted we are actually learning real information or how we manage that with this epic space at the same time.
It'll be fun.
So,
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think we'll probably send you about 5 or 6 short clips, and you will have a chance to kind of experience us in real life for a week instead of just behind these big lights.
Or big mics.
Big lights and big mics. Everything's big here in Texas,
I love it. No, we're excited to go and really represent and really take this message and this type of work to a bigger audience and kind of really share what what the community is that we've been creating with you guys. So
but we want to take you on with us. We want you guys to feel like you're a part of it too. So that's what's happening the next week and a half. But we will be back on Tuesday. If you've got a good topic that you want us to talk about, you can always reply to those emails. And but I'll try to come up with something really juicy. Okay, anything else? Oh, the new, it's called the Healer's Haven. I'm also been writing it up in every single email. I just want you guys to know that you're welcome to it. Our next Healer Haven meeting is going to be July 30th. It's a Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Pacific. So if you're ever like, why are they choosing those people way in the back of the line when we take these readings? Well, those guys have priority because they are a part of the Healer's Haven. So that is why we do that. They also get a discount code for 10% off any of our speaker offers. And we also have 2 actual group /training/facilitation sessions twice a month. It's $37 a month if you're interested in playing more in our inner circle and our healer's haven. It's really designed for energy healers that are wanting to expand their gifts, and also really get clarity on their direction or purpose in life. So if that calls you, please take a moment, check it out. You can respond, ask questions.
Yes.
We're happy to always answer your questions, and you can always just reply to the email that we send when we send these notifications. To
Or you
SharePoint.
can just email us at team@hauteso.com.
And for that.
And we will get your, any questions you have about it answered, or anything else if you wanted to share what you're experiencing here too. Plus, Jen, on that, in the haven, in the healer's haven, we also have lots of bonuses, and you get access to the previous summits as well. So lots of goodies there.
Yeah, thanks you guys for being here and live and engaged. It just really makes the show
Such
so
a joy.
more expansive when you're present. So I'm grateful. And if you are watching on the replay and just heard that, it's just a reminder that in the caption, you can go to the bottom and actually join this, live community as well.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.